Sudip Bandyopadhyay, MD and CEO of Destimoney Securities, joins in on Street View at lunch. Afternoon, Sudip. It's been a very volatile last couple of trading sessions. A huge cut in trade yesterday on account of the unrest in Syria, and then we've seen some sort of a recovery today. What's your call on the market in the near term? Do you think we're likely to see some weakness kick in come tomorrow?
Possible, Sudip. In fact, there are a couple of events which we'll have to watch out for. One is there is a lot of expectation being built around PFRDA bill getting through the parliament today. If that happens, I think it will have a sentimental positive impact, and market may continue to remain in a buoyant mood. Also, there are a lot of expectations being built around policy measures expected to be announced once Mr. Raghuram Rajan has taken over as the RBI governor today at 3 p.m. Again, if there are some actual measures announced, that will be a positive, sentimental impact for the market. So there are some positives. Of course, there are concerns, regarding the macroeconomic situation, regarding the overall, global economic position, considering that FIIs are definitely going to pull money out of India, maybe slowly, but money will move out of India, and that's again continues to remain a huge concern.
Sudip, what's the chatter when it comes to the banking pack? Because the way the banks have been getting hammered is slightly concerning.
I agree with you, Aisha, but if you recollect, we have been consistently maintaining that there is a huge concern over the asset quality of the banks, and PSU banks are definitely suspect. While when the economy has slowed down from 9% to 4.5%, 5%, what we are seeing today, definitely asset quality pressures are going to remain unless the economy shows signs of revival. Growth comes back to the economy. It's extremely difficult for the banks to avoid the issue of NPAs and CDRs. Now these issues continue to plague all the banks. PSUs more than private sector, but having said that, even there are concerns about private sector bank asset quality as well at this juncture. So I think we will continue to remain a little skeptical about investing. Valuations do look very attractive, but in spite of that, I think we are advising investors to stay away at this stage from banking pack.
What about IT and pharma? Everyone we talk to, Sudip, advises investors to bet on these two sectors. What's your call on these two sectors? How much more of an upside do you see, especially on the IT sector?
Well, unfortunately, Sandeep, not too much of an upside from the current levels. I think, there has been a shift, and definitely IT is leading the pack. They are leading the index today. But the fact remains that they have shot up too much and within a very short span of time. While fundamentally their businesses are strong, there are lots of things which are definitely positive for companies like TCS, Infosys, HCL Technologies, and even Wipro. Dollar appreciation definitely helps them. The US immigration bill kind of going into a cold storage definitely reassures them. But all said and done, the valuations really look a bit stretched at this stage. So I will not advise investors to enter IT at this stage. Somebody who is holding on to the shares, somebody who has the shares, may wait before exiting, because still there is possibility of some appreciation from current level. But fresh entry at this level may not be advised.
Sudip, so tell us, or rather give us some stock ideas. What is it that you're recommending to your clients right now?
Well, there are interesting opportunities, Aisha, in the pharma and other consumption-related companies. Now, what we are trying to pick up is companies which are related to domestic consumption, but also have a strong export base and an export bias. So a company like MRF, which exports to 64 countries, a company like Bajaj, Auto, which is 1/3 of its revenue comes from exports, and of course there is significant domestic demand as well. So these are the companies we are liking at this stage. In the pharma, we also like a lot of these mid-cap and small-cap pharma companies where we believe there is significant potential. We like Suven Life Sciences, we like Ipca Laboratories, we like Glenmark. I think these are good companies to look at the current juncture. But one must remember that these are not very short-term bets. We are not talking about even a 1 month, 2 month position. We are talking about 1 year plus hold. And if an investor has the patience and capacity to hold for 1 year, we believe these should give them good returns.
What about metals, Sudip, for investors who've missed out on the metal rally? Do you think they can still get in, or do you think it's best to keep out of the metals pack?
Well, Sudip, we are a bit confused on the metals. We have been bearish on metal for quite some time. I think the principal reason for that has been the slowdown in China. And as we know, that a significant part of global metal demand comes from China. So with Chinese slowdown, we were very wary and we were advising investors to stay away. Of course, in the recent past, we have seen some upward movement in China as far as the metal demand and GDP growth is concerned. And that is kind of reassured the investors, and there has been some momentum back in these counters. But we at some level believe that the worst is probably not over for the metal counters. Global economy still looks a bit unstable. Yes, recovery is back in US, but the emerging markets, including China, still not stable. So we will be extremely cautious on metals, and we will not recommend entry or retaining position in metal at this stage.
Sudip, you just talked about Bajaj Auto. What about the four-wheeler space? And given the kind of slowdown that we've seen in the UV and the CV space, would it be best to perhaps stay out?
Yeah, Aisha, you're right. I think, I will take a bet on two-wheelers rather than four-wheelers. There are a few reasons. Look at the two-wheeler, where it sells most. It is in the rural India, semi-urban India. And, with the monsoon being good, with elections coming, which will pump a lot of money into the rural and semi-urban economy, there will be obviously an upsurge in domestic rural semi-urban demand for two-wheelers. So that's definitely a positive. Coupled with that, companies like Bajaj, which are exporting, almost 1/3 of their production, the dollar appreciation definitely helps these companies. So I think I will continue to stick to companies like Bajaj Auto. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about Hero at this stage because there are other issues there. So as far as two-wheeler, our only pick is Bajaj.
Sudip, a quick on the telecom pack as well. We've seen some amount of regulatory uncertainty in that particular sector. We expect far more clarity in the next couple of months. For an investor with a long-term view, is it a good time to get into a stock like a Bharti Airtel or an Idea Cellular?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody is looking at least 1 year plus time horizon, they can consider. Yes, you alluded to the regulatory uncertainty. Of course, there are a tremendous amount of regulatory confusion and the opportunities which can come, they are not coming because of the regulatory uncertainty. Very clearly, the M&A space in the telecom is ready for action, but no action can take place unless the regulator clarifies the M&A guidelines in this sector. Without that, no M&A can happen. And if and when M&A happens, a lot of these companies, smaller companies, are ready to sell out. So Bharti, Idea and the likes will definitely benefit through consolidation. Yes, there are certain concerns on their balance sheet as far as the debt is concerned, but I think things are being managed proactively by these companies. So yes, 1 year plus time horizon, one can look at acquiring Bharti and Idea.
Okay, Sudip, good chatting with you. Appreciate you taking the time out and joining us today on Street View.